Welcome to the Draft Board Hockey Show, episode 7, and we are talking about Porter Martone. I'm Mark, and my co-host Linc. How's it going, buddy?
It's going great. Again, another week here in Denmark. I just planned some travel to Prague. Might be checking out an extra Liga game while I'm there. You never know, But I'm super excited to jump back on the pod and talk about some prospects, and especially a very, I would say controversial. I wouldn't even say controversial, but he's in the news cycle a lot. Porter Martone. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about Porter Martone. Very hotly contested player. I mean, again, he's had quite the ride over the last few games. I mean, he has a lot to offer. Can't wait to get into it.
Yeah, you know what? The thing with Porter Martone is that he's kind of been a little bit up and down in terms of, potentially second overall, first overall, third, and I don't know. We'll dive into that. We're going to talk about that for sure. We're going to discuss some follower questions in the future too. And before we talk about that though, you know what? You're a big fan of obviously the Eagles. So how was that whole afternoon for you?
It was spectacular. I am not the biggest football fan per se, but I've been following this Eagles team pretty closely than I have any other football team in the last few years. Even when the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, like in 2022, this was a fun team to watch. It was a fun game to watch for me. Obviously, I know a lot of our listeners will be watching and be like, "Oh, it was a blowout," but come on, I know at least half of you were happy to see Patrick Mahomes. It was nice. It was good. It was fun. And I wore my Matt Michkov jersey to the restaurant where they were playing it on the big screen, and everyone was being like, all the Danes were like confused, like, what? It's like the flyer. And I was yeah, it was funny though, but it was really cool. It was really awesome to go see. And the only thing is I wish I could be back for the parade that's going to be there in I think it's on Friday, but yeah, I'm super stoked. That was awesome.
Yeah, that would be a fun time. Definitely joining any kind of parade. Hopefully one day we get to see the Flyers parade because I'll make the trip for that for sure if that ever happens.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that'd be a good time. That'd be a good time for sure. But yeah, so you know what? I want to talk. I went to a couple games, live viewings this past week. So one of them was Saginaw was in town against Windsor, and yeah, they ended up winning 6-3. And our boy Michael Misa, yeah, measly 4 points, not a big deal. You know what I mean? Just flying all over the ice and making his presence felt. It was pretty awesome. I was, went with a few buddies. We're all hockey guys. We're all in a dynasty league together, and they're like, "Oh my God, Misa's flying out there. The kid can definitely wheel," and ended up with 4 points. Not bad, eh?
Can we talk about Michael Misa for a bit? I tweeted this out on just 2 days ago, but it was the day after that you went to his 4-point game. He went and, he put up, some solid points again. 5 points, 2 goals, 3 assists.
Yeah.
5 points that night, giving him 27 points in his last 10 games, 38 points in his current 15-game point streak since December 29th during the World Juniors that he started that, and a total of 44 goals, 55 assists for 99 points in 47.
Not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
Leading the OHL in points in his draft year. Not bad. That's okay.
I think he's leading the entire CHL too. I don't think anyone else touched 100 points. Like, this guy is gross. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you know what? Live, he's fun to watch. Like I said, he's noticeable. All my buddies were like, "Oh wow, yeah, he's a kid. Like, he's a real deal." And I was like, "Yeah, you know what? He's going to be pushing for first overall, possibly, depending on the team." But yeah, we've had that actually in the follower questions. We're going to touch on that about first overall. But then I went on Saturday and ended up watching Jake O'Brien and the Brantford Bulldogs were in town. So yeah, that was a good game too. He ended up with 1 point, power play point. Really nice play actually. He nice dish, and then he actually found an open lane and was gonna possibly score, but it ended up ricocheting off his leg, and his teammate scored. So it wasn't a big deal. But you know what? He played a good game. I thought. Obviously didn't put up 4 points like Misa, but definitely made his presence felt. So it was a good weekend to watch some prospect hockey. I was kind of excited about that. And now I'm on a little lull. Next game is going to be Saginaw again against Windsor in a week or so. So, but you know what? Love those live viewings. It always kind of, it's just different when you watch it live as opposed to tape. And I like to, it's one thing that I do is when I go to the rinks, I go kind of down close to the ice for one period, and then I go kind of different areas, actually, different sites of view, I guess you could say, which is pretty funny, but that's just kind of my thing, the way I do the scouting thing when I'm close to the ice or up high. Makes it a little different.
Jake O'Brien, ledge. He has come back with a force like unseen. This guy is really. I think he cemented himself, like, if not at 10, around the top 10 for a lot of people. I think he's someone that's gonna definitely especially with him being a center, he's gonna stick around that top 10 for the entire time. I think in a weaker draft, people are going to prioritize centers, and again, it's already being seen. We've got Desnoyers being as high as he is. Roger McQueen is staying as high as he is. Victor Eklund is being valued as high as he is. It's going to be a center's draft. So,
yeah, I think, you know what, like I said, it's significant droppage. Actually, was it Pronman, I think, released his top 24 because he said that, the rest weren't really fit for the first round. So he only dropped 24 that he thought were going to be first rounders in his last ranking. So, you know what, I think that, yeah, there's a little bit of a dip in terms of like the depth of this draft compared to the last couple of years. So, you know what, it's going to be all over the map. I think once draft day comes down, it's going to be pretty wild. Even the top three, you never know who's going to go where. You know what I mean?
I think we're going to see a surprise in the top three. I think, again, I don't think we're going to see like a Beckett Seneca like surprise, but I think we're going to see someone get launched into the top three that not everyone's expecting throughout the entire year. I think, again, be prepared to be surprised. Even though I have a pretty set in stone top three, and I would take one after the other, and I think they're far and away the best three of the class. Get ready to be surprised. I certainly am right now.
Like any draft, there are always some surprises, but I think this year could be some big surprises. So it's going to be fun to watch, anyways. But we'll do Porter Martone right now. We'll talk about Mr. Porter Martone, and then we'll do our follower questions at the end of the show. And if you do have questions, submit them. We'll try to get them on the show for sure. And let's talk about Mr. Porter Martone. So 6'3", 207, right winger, 76 points in 40 games. Look at the assists, 50 assists. So yeah, he can shoot a puck, but he's also a passer. I've had him at number 4 for a long time, Linc. In some newly released rankings, he's kind of dropping into like 5-6 territory. What's your let's hear what you have to say first and foremost about Mr. Porter Martone. I'll let you take it first.
So I've been doing a little bit more research on Porter Martone. My next prospect of the week is going to be Porter Martone. I'm going to release that sometime this week, hopefully before I go to Prague, which would be great. But something that's really surprised me about Porter Martone is his reputation as a scorer and a shooter at the beginning of the year has kind of faded. And it, again, as evidenced obviously by his 50 assists, looking at his shot chart, I would say about like a good 80 or 75% to 80% of his goals are in or around the crease. This guy is a bit of a tap-in guy, which again, he's a big boy. He's posting in front of the net, but his offensive abilities and his offensive, I would say, potential is kind of limited in terms of the scoring game. But he has been able to pivot. He has been able to be a better stick handler and passer. But again, I'm a little bit more worried about the IQ. I'm a little bit more worried about the shooting than I have been in past takes. And again, there's always that issue of the skating, and that for that reason, I've taken him pretty consistently out of the tier of the top of this draft. I think he's very much in contention with Victor Eklund, Caleb Desnoyers, even Roger McQueen could come back into the top 4 if one of the three starts playing out of their minds. That number 4 ranking is not safe, I would say.
Okay, yeah.
Like Desnoyers, Eklund, I mean McQueen, all of them I think could definitely slide into that 4 spot. I mean, depending when McQueen comes back, but like ever since the World Juniors, I've always just thought he's number 4, and that 4 position is not as safe as people think it is. So look, we'll see what happens. He's played an excellent last 2 games though. So I was really about to bury him in my prospect of the week, but then he's absolutely dusting everyone on that Brampton team.
Yeah, it's funny though. So here's a prospect that So I saw him live a few weeks ago, and nothing special. I was like, oh, okay, and then he ends up getting 4 points, and I'm like, where he's like gets these sneaky 4, 3, 5 point games. I'm like, honestly, I've seen him live 3 times this year, and every time he's gotten 3 points, 4 points, 4 points, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, so yeah. At the end of the game, I'm like, I look at the score sheet, I'm like, how did he end up with 4 points? Like it's he's got these sneaky production, I guess you could say. He's like the ghost, you know what I mean? He's not there, and then all of a sudden he's there. Like it's unreal. But you want to let's show a couple of clips of him. So you have this loaded up. So talk about this one.
So yeah, here he is. He gets into the front of the net, and he has really quick instincts, and he's able to just like know where his teammates are on the ice. Again, he's on the line with Carson Rakoff, who passes the puck right to him, and then to Luke Misa, who just buries in the back of the net. That quick instincts there are pretty awesome, and they show off his intelligence. But again, you see the drawbacks. The compete isn't always there. Look how slow he is on this back check, and then gets it back into the offensive zone and passes it off. And it's an okay zone entry. It's not a great one. I feel like he is very limited in his offensive abilities, but when he is used as a cog in a line rather than the line driver, he's kind of limited in that aspect. He's not making the right reads. He's not moving around once he makes that first pass. He's not finding the open lanes. He's not dropping back to get an open shot. He will even get in the lanes, like in that last clip you showed. I think he's like in the lane of Luka Misa while he's shooting, which is a little problematic. I just offensively, like, there's so much good and bad, and sometimes he's able to take over games, but then he will just be not there. He'll be in the background. He'll be floating. It's really, really odd.
Yeah, his pace is intermittent. It comes and goes. Like there's certain shifts where he's buzzing, and then there's certain shifts where he's just coasting around. And that's one thing that, and like I said, I've seen him live like 3 times this year, and every time his overall game is just meh, but he ends up with like 3, 4 points. And I mean, obviously, when you're playing on a line with Carson Rakoff, who's just been on a tear, that helps things out. But definitely, yeah, I just there's that, it's just inconsistencies that kind of annoy me. And like I said, he doesn't push the pace all the time. And here, I want to show a couple of clips of him crashing the net. So he's behind the net right here, and then he's fighting for the puck. And then look at, so you were saying right in the paint, there's a goal right there. So, the instinct of, winning a little puck battle. He's his stick, active stick. He's really good at retrieving pucks using his stick. So that's a goal right there. Then there's another one here. I'll show you. So this one here, he enters the zone, fluffs a pass right here, but watch the stick work again. He's gonna strip it right there. Look at that, and then goal. Boop. So there are these, times when you see, like, look at that. That's nice little stick lift, and then nice.
I want to make a quick comment. That might be the furthest out goal I've seen from him this year.
Yeah. Like you said, he's very much a in the paint, in the house kind of goal scorer. But yeah, it's just that, and he's skating is questionable too, right? He doesn't have that top gear. He's is he going to be able to maintain that at the NHL level? He's going to have to definitely work on his skating, which kind of was exposed at the World Juniors, and one of the reasons probably why he was sat out a couple games.
One thing I will say in defense of of his offensive abilities, and his I guess transition to the NHL, he has absolutely no reason to be as good of a stick handler as he is. He's got disgusting mitts. Like, they're really, we don't talk about them enough. They're really, really good. Again, he tries to do way too much, which can be a problem, but his advanced stick handling is going to be able to help him create that space that he will need to succeed at the next level to get those points.
He's got some smooth hands. I got a couple of clips here. So this one here, you're going to see, watch this little tappity tap there. Actually, you know what? That's not the one I wanted to show you, but so here, puck retrieval, and then just buries it on the breakaway. But here's you'll see here, gets out of see that nice little stick handling out of the zone. And then watch this pass. Like, come on. Rakoff says, yeah, thank you very much. Easy goal for me. And then another one here, you're going to see the hands. Look at this, puck protection. And then again, a seeing eye pass, finds that open lane. So the passing, we said, is one of his strengths. And you can see it right here. So you see how he protects the puck, and that's actually Schaefer right there that he
Yeah, I
makes the
was about to
pass
say.
through. Yeah. So, yeah, good puck protection. That's one thing. Along the wall, he's got a big body, and he's got the mitts. There's one game when I went to at the beginning of the season against Barrie, and he was along the wall one time, and literally there was three guys all over him, and he came out like just dangled everyone, used his body, and I was like, okay, that's pretty sweet. But yeah, you know what? There's lots of positives in Martone's game. There's some negatives too, though. That's the issue.
The things I want to point to is because the things I want to point to is just strictly archetype based like kind of flaws. When we went into the year, people were talking about how this guy was going to be Matthew Tkachuk, Corey Perry, like reincarnate. And I was never really fully bought into that. I was like, he could totally develop into it and prove me wrong. But the three things that I kind of see, the three things I see that are like big issues for him and that like kind of have brought me back wholesale. He doesn't use the body as much as anyone would like. 6'3". He's darn near 200 pounds if he's not already. And
He's 207. Yeah, he's 207. They list him.
oh my God, he's meaty. He's big. He's
Yeah.
muscly.
Yeah.
But you never know it. You never know it at all. Two is the decision making. It can be brilliant at times, but then sometimes it can be just downright dumb. I've seen a lot of passes go awry. Without the puck, I've seen some issues with just like he doesn't move to areas that are open. Like he doesn't get open the slot. And I would see number three, he has a really powerful shot, and he doesn't use it. Like he'll the only time I've seen him shoot with consistency that's not close to the net is from the right circle, and that's about it. And he has a tendency to miss those shots because again, like that's on. He's a right shot, right? He's a right shot, and he'll go wide. He can really unlock a potential as a shooter, and I feel like he's really missing a lot of his opportunities. But again, he's playing a certain role at Brampton. It's working. They're winning. He's getting enough points, but he's really just looked limited in my view, and it looks like it's going to limit him in the NHL.
Yeah, and you know what? His point production has dipped surprisingly. He was over 2 points a game at the beginning of the season, was on a pretty good tear, and then now he's at like I think 1.8 points a game. So he's dropped. That's a pretty good drop. And Misa is at 2.11 points a game right now. So he's maintained it. So he's been consistent. And like I said, the thing with Porter Martone is he gets sneaky points. Like the couple games that I went to, he wasn't noticeable, but he ended up getting like 3 or 4 points on the score sheet. I'm like, wow. Yeah. So
I think he's utilizing the teammates very well. I think that line is excellently constructed. I think Rakoff, Misa, and Martone complement each other in a great deal of ways. I'm not saying that in a way to hurt Martone, but it's an explanation. I think just what we're looking at in terms of like what he's going to be at the NHL. That's what I've been wanting to talk about the whole time. I think he is a piece to a top line or top six line. Like he is a first or second line winger, but he's not like going to be a driver. He's going to be a guy that you plant in front of your net and is going to rack up some goals, is going to start the transition, but not be the one transitioning the puck. He's going to be more of a niche player, and he's going to need to develop a bit better shooting habits, some better decision making, and especially some better skating. So there's a lot of things that are going to have to go into Porter Martone. I think the biggest surprise is that he's more a project than most people would say, but he is still capable of taking over games, I would say. It was very evident in his last game. He had 5 points. I thought he was really solid. I really liked all the passing that he was making. I think it was just like a turning point because everyone's been talking about him. Everyone's been bringing him back, and I think he's taking notice because, like you said, at the beginning of the year, it was him and Misa neck and neck, both at the top of the OHL. And ever since he made it to the World Juniors and Misa didn't, someone has had a fire, and their name was not Porter Martone. So we'll see.
Yeah, you know what? I like you said, I think he's a project, but he has the qualities that you need in a player. Like he's big, he's got some hands, he's got a shot. So there are things, a little bit of a project, like you said, but definitely, he's gonna. The question is like where he's gonna go draft day, and like you said, he might be slipping a little bit. It all depends on what a team's looking for. Um, yeah,
I am confident that he's going to stay pretty high.
yeah, oh yeah,
There again, there's a lot of merit. I think there's a ton of merit to his game. I think he's a very hardworking individual. He just needs to fix certain things. Like there's a reason why he was picked as the captain over Carson Rakoff. Like he is a leader. He is someone that they're going to look towards during draft day and say this kid is going to be like is going to develop. And I think a lot of people believe that. Just for now, I see his game as limited. I really have questions with how much offense you can get out of him at this point, and that's what's bringing him back again. Because I think at his peak, if his tools are performing at the level that you want them to, he could be top two. Again, we all know that he has
yeah.
the
So
potential. He was that for the beginning of the year, but again, he's shown us a lot of flaws. And again,
and
the
so
season,
the
the
other thing
season's
with this
yeah.
draft, is that there's a lot of 06s. He's an 06. Eklund's an 06. All the guys that you mentioned might be in contention. So because like Schaefer and Misa are young, Denoyer is young, but Eklund and Martone, like this is Martone's third full season in the OHL because he's an 06, right? So I mean the progression's there, but is it the progression that a top three pick would benefit from? But anyways, all right. So you know what? Let's move on because now we're gonna do baller questions, baby. Let's do it. Let's
Let's
do
go.
it.
Love it. So
Let's
excited.
do it. There's a few good ones today. Actually, talking about first and second overall because you and I had a difference in our top 20, and so the listeners or viewers have chimed in. So let's see what we got right here. Okay, so the first one says, my take as a Shark fan, we're probably finishing last, but might end up 31st with Chicago being last. So the draft lottery could have other teams win the first and second picks. At worst, I think the Sharks and Hawks each have a top four pick. But he said Schaefer is his first choice, and I think Misa is the best of the forwards for the Sharks. And obviously, I said yes. Schaefer should go number one, and you said yes, Misa should go number one. So, what do you think there, Mister?
Well, it's a bit of an issue. I think if the Sharks do have the first overall pick, I'm taking Schaefer, and I'll tell you why. Partially, and again, I'm gonna get some flack for this. I'm not convinced that Dickinson is the best 1D you can have in that organization. I think that Matthew Schaefer offers way more than any other defenseman can and already does offer in the San Jose Sharks loaded draft cupboard that they have there. And also, he's a left shot. Dickinson is a right shot, if I'm not mistaken. And that would be a good pairing for the future. I think those two would really would complement each other very, very well in terms of what their strengths are. I can see Misa going first overall. I can see it, but I really don't see him not moving over to the wing with Smith and Celebrini there. I just think that Schaefer is the perfect fit in San Jose, but I also don't think that it's going to be San Jose or Chicago with the first overall pick. I don't know. It's just kind of like
Oh,
it
are
rubs
you
me the wrong.
jinxing? Are you jinxing the two teams already? Like you think that there's going to be a crazy lottery jump, basically, from one
I
of the lower teams?
I think there might be. I think there might be. We have not seen that in a minute, but I think there's going to be. I think the NHL is going to promote a certain team if they finish. I don't want to say the team's name because I don't want to jinx them because I actually hope that this team finishes first overall. It's not the Flyers, trust me, but I hope this one particular team finishes first overall because we've seen the Sharks finish first overall. The Blackhawks get the first overall pick, but this team has been snubbed both times. So that's all I'm gonna
Uh,
say. We'll see. We'll
okay,
see,
well,
we'll see if that
I'm
happens
pretty
again.
sure our followers know who you're talking about. But yeah, you know
Yeah.
what? So okay, let's go to the next question because I got. We already know what I think about that. So let's check out question number two. So now Antonino says, I watch San Jose as I'm a West Coaster, and I'm a bit torn regarding taking Schaefer or Misa. I have Schaefer as a number one pick if San Jose gets the first pick, and I think he's incredible, but part of me also wants to see things play out where San Jose gets Misa, just see how it pans out with Celebrina and Misa down the middle. Now, both our options are incredible, but San Jose potentially having two high-end top-line centers down the middle, I think Misa is better than a lot of scouts are saying, is a very seductive proposition. So yeah, so again, another Schaefer Misa first overall. It's probably more than likely, especially the
One
way
thing I will
Misa's playing.
say, one thing I will say is that they mentioned at the end of there, Keaton Verhoff and Ryan Rubrek from the next draft in 2026, which I think I think probably in terms of what you want for a center. I mean, banking on a big and tall center like Rubrek or Ethan Belchitz next year, or
Yeah.
maybe waiting to. I mean, I think that's a better pick than banking on Keaton Verhoff, who could be as highly regarded as Schaefer maybe this time next year. I'll make a bet right now that he probably is. But
Nice.
we're talking about this year. I think Schaefer's your man first overall if you're San Jose. It's really hard for me to justify putting Misa in a very center heavy draft cupboard, just because like we've seen how well Celebrini and Smith have played this year. That's your 1 and 2 centers for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
I think someone said, it's Diet McDavid and Draisaitl, and I'm like, I don't want to go there, but
I like that.
They look pretty good. So yeah, it was.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. All right, let's see what we got here. And then yeah, so again, it feels like a 2-horse race between Misa Schaefer. Intriguing point with the position, less hockey when it comes to Misa playing wing. And we have a question here for you, Linc. It says, and would love to know who Linc sees the Flyers getting in the realistic draft range. And then Flyers have the 6th pick right now. Who's the best center at number 6, Linc? Who do you got?
So
number 6 for the Flyers.
I have 3 realistic options right now for number 6. I think we're going to get a whole lot worse if Torts gets fired, which he might. But
please, you know what? Torts, I'm sorry, but Torts needs to go. He's just killing our youth. Please,
assistant coach Bradshaw, please save us. Please save us.
God, it's painful. It's painful.
It is. It really is. But in terms of centers, I think centers is kind of the correct way to go for this draft year. Again, Porter Martone is someone that I'm looking at, I'm eyeing, and I'm like, I think him and Misa I think him and Michkov would complement each other really, really well. As much as I would love Higgins to fall to the Flyers, which is not happening, I think the 3 most realistic centers that the Flyers could take, probably Caleb Desnoyers more than anyone else. I love him. I really do. And then you get the added goal scoring bonus that he brings. He can do a lot offensively, which is why I think he might be taken earlier than 6th. So I think Victor Eklund from Your Gardens, who is so Philly. Oh my gosh, he literally embodies Philly. He is so Philly.
He's a Flyers clone.
I could totally see if we win a couple games and we land 8 or 9, we could be a team that takes a swing on Roger McQueen, which I would be okay on.
Yeah.
So those are the 3 that I.
You know what? Listen, nothing wrong with Roger McQueen. We just haven't seen a full season from him. Obviously, like I said, small sample size, 11 games or 8 games. Sorry, and those 8 games, like he came out swinging. So you know what? I think that I know you're not as high on Anton Frondel as I am, but I'd squeeze him in that mix too. But I got Caleb Desnoyers at number 5. That's my boy. He just checks off all the boxes. But yeah, you know what I mean? Desnoyers, Eklund, McQueen, and I'm going to throw my hat in the ring and say a little Anton Frondel in there. Come on.
That would scare me personally. But Caleb Desnoyers would be great. Oh my gosh, the 18.
Well, he's a prototypical Flyer player too, because he's got a good motor. He's not afraid of any of the rough areas. He's got a little edge to his game. Obviously has some offensive upside. So yeah, I mean, you know what? That kid buzzes around the ice. Watch his games. That's one kid I'd like to see live. I'd like to draw into the queue and see a Moncton game to see Desnoyers in action. Well, I saw him at the CHL US prospect game. And like I said, on the top line there, and you know what, was flying out there. And yeah, I like his presence.
Plus, the Flyers have a pretty good we have a pretty good history of drafting centers from the queue. So that's all I'm going to say. So
For sure.
I'm hoping. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, that I think it's definitely what's in the range for the Flyers if they're targeting centers. I'd be surprised if they went for anything other than forward in this draft if with their first pick.
Yeah, I mean, so that's going to be fun again. Thanks for the questions, everyone. Put some questions on here. Add your questions. We'll try to get it into the next episode. Actually, the next episode is going to be our surprise episode. Should have mentioned it at the beginning of the show, but yeah, we got a nice surprise coming up if we can get everything in order for this weekend for recording. So yeah, so basically stick around for the next episode. Is going to be a fun one, and I'll probably release it on Sunday if we get the recording done on Sunday. So that'll be a lot of fun. All right, Linker, go check Linc's stuff out on New Wave Hockey. He just released his top 64, right, Linc?
Oh yeah, just released my top 64. It's been out for a little bit of a while now, but it still took me a long time to do. Yeah, I'm really proud of it, and I'm actively working on just updating some of my player profiles one at a time through Prospect of the Week, and yeah, things are going great.
All right, everyone. Thanks for watching, and tune into the next episode. It's going to be a great one, and that is it for today. We'll see you soon. Cheers.